Hello, my name is Jack Vincent, and I am your new Director of Communications. Today, you will be reviewing a letter of apology I wrote for our magazine regarding Simone Harbinson, and I will be explaining why this letter is the best for us to use. In today's climate, we really need to be careful of what we share for this reason. Reason being, the tweet we wrote with the article headline that we wrote on it got hundreds of replies and thousands of retweets. So, without further ado, let's get started. You will see here the letter that I wrote. I provided copies for you all. The audience in which I determine to be appropriate for this level of responsibility and severity is a concerned audience, or Category D. A concerned audience, as it is stated in Chapter 13, is an audience that believes that the actual harm done is minimal, but individuals are still concerned because it shows a weakness in the organization that could easily lead to more accidents. The importance of realizing weaknesses as an organization is imperative to avoid potential future mistakes. An apology written for such an instance as this, in my opinion, should be accessible to read on our website indefinitely. I have determined this is a concerned audience because, according to the text, even though the incident was not a threat to the safety of the general public, Cosmopolitan was still fully responsible for the misleading and offensive article. Since there was really no risk of putting anyone in danger, the severity is low. This does not mean our mistake should be overlooked. The article is still written in ink and floating around for millions of people to see, resulting in horrible publicity. In addition, because we were fully at fault, meaning it was nobody else's fault but ours, the level of responsibility is high. There is no way to shift the blame to anyone but ourselves. There's still yet to be an apology written to this day. That alone is a detrimental mistake on our behalf. And if we ever want to stop being slandered for it, an apology is the first step we need to take. In my letter, I chose to utilize mortification and corrective action techniques. On page 278 of the text in Chapter 13, it states that minimization, bolstering, and some corrective action is the best route to take. However, in our case, bolstering and minimization seemed that it would not be effective at all. I chose not to use these techniques because for such an offensive article, attempting to remind the audience that nobody was physically harmed, or trying to convince people that the article could have been a lot worse, or attempting to convince them that we rarely write such offensive articles in general, would be inappropriate. Attempting to minimize the damage done by bolstering about what a great organization we are would actually do more damage than good. It would make us seem like we are attempting to play it off as no big deal. I first assessed the damage by using mortification. Because there was no legal liability, it was safe to use this technique when I did. Had there been a potential lawsuit brewing, mortification would not be useful because an apology would then have consequences. According to Myers in an article, these consequences frequently are lawsuits that use organizational statements of apology, empathy, sympathy, and remorse as evidence of wrongdoing. I went on to state that the tone we had the intentions of setting did not match with the public opinion. By doing this, I have explained how our mistake was made. I made an effort to make sure that our negligence was the only thing at fault here, because that is what the audience wants to hear, a truthful, genuine, we messed up and we realize it apology. I then went on to use corrective action next because many upset readers are going to want to know how this type of arrogance will be prevented in the future. Since the internet is written in ink and the article will never be erased no matter how hard we try, there was nothing I could restore. So I used the next tactic that the chapter explains to be tied to corrective action on page 273, which was prevention. I wrote how the implementation of a new review process will pick apart every new article with a fine-tooth comb to ensure the tone, word choice, and ethics are all in sync and appropriate. I also explained that we will personally contact the subjects of the story and request them to read it carefully before submitting. This will alleviate the risk of unwanted and false information. Also, I promise to never allow future headlines be written as clickbait. The definition of clickbait is provided in the letter. The headline written for Harbinson's article was nothing but clickbait. Its only use was to provoke readers to click on the article without any regard to truthfulness or ethics. You will see here just some of the bad publicity we got on Twitter. It was kind of detrimental. Here is more on clickbait. It is indeed a great way to get views on our articles. Having said that, in a time like this, we need to do away with it. Our readers clicked on our article hoping to learn how to lose weight, only to be let down by realizing that cancer was required. Even though that is not what we intended to say, that is how the public took our message. What we write is not important. What is important is how the public digests our information. So, to conclude, through the use of mortification and corrective action, I believe I have effectively written a sincere apology on the behalf of Cosmopolitan. I believe my decision of writing to a concerned audience was the correct choice, and the techniques I chose to use were appropriate per Chapter 13. The route we took when writing their article was indeed wrong, but with these techniques, prevention of such a mistake in the future is achievable. It is important to know this because at this severity, nearly anything can be forgivable. Again, thank you for your time. It is crucial that this letter of apology be available for readers to see indefinitely on the website and at least once in next week's issue of the magazine. Thank you and have a great day.